It's 1 in the afternoon. You're behind the bathroom door. You have been gone, from his perspective, for roughly 45 seconds. To him, that's a long time. And so on this side of the door, 10 inches from your foot, there is a creature pressing his face into the gap, listening for breathing, preparing to start a rescue operation if the breathing stops. You did not call him. He came on his own. This is the 700th time. You've watched this happen so many times, you've stopped registering it. You move, he moves. You get a glass of water, he supervises. You stand up to grab a charger, and there are already eyes at knee height, looking up at you like, what's the plan? Somebody has probably told you this means he's anxious, that you spoiled him, that Velcro behavior is a sign of attachment issues, and you brought it on yourself by being too available. They were wrong. Here is what dogs actually do in a controlled test. You put a dog in a room with their owner. You bring in a stranger. The owner leaves, the stranger stays. Then the owner comes back, and the stranger leaves. Same room, same procedure, with everything counterbalanced so the dog isn't just reacting to whoever happened to walk in first. What the dogs do is this. When their owner is the one outside the door, they stand at it. They wait. They keep checking. When a stranger is the one outside the door, they don't bother. Same door, same outside. The Goldsmiths researchers who ran this study in 2008, Robin Palmer and Deborah Custance, were using the same procedure child psychologists use on toddlers. It's called the strange situation. It's how you measure secure attachment. And it turns out the thing your dog is doing, the door behavior, the supervising, the eyes at knee height, that's the canine version of a securely attached 1-year-old who keeps glancing back at mom on the bench at the playground. Your dog isn't anxious. Your dog is healthy. He's running the same operating system as a kid who knows his mom isn't going anywhere. But this is just the floor. Lisa Horn and her team at the University of Veterinary Medicine in Vienna wanted to know how deep it goes. In 2013, they gave dogs a puzzle, a latched box with food inside. The kind of task a dog can absolutely handle. They tested the same dog 3 ways. With the owner in the room paying attention, with the owner in the room reading a book and pointedly ignoring them, with the owner not in the room at all. The dogs whose owner was gone sniffed the box, walked away, lay down. The dogs whose owner was in the room, even when the owner was reading and not looking at them, kept working. The only variable that mattered was whether the human they loved was somewhere in the visual field. Let me say what that means. Your dog's ability to solve a problem is partially located in your body, not your attention, not your encouragement, your presence in the room. A child psychologist would tell you a securely attached toddler is brave because mom is there. The brain doesn't have to spend resources scanning for safety, so it can spend them on the puzzle. Your dog is running the same operating system. This is also why training your dog at the vet's office falls apart. The dog who knew sit cold in your kitchen suddenly forgets what the word means. He hasn't forgotten anything. He's running a security audit on a strange room while you, his base camp, are standing on linoleum that smells like 400 other dogs. How hard this hits depends on what's in your dog. Vizslas and retrievers run Velcro at the species ceiling. They were bred specifically to work close to humans. Basenjis, sighthounds, livestock guardians, many primitive breeds. Those run cooler. Most dogs are somewhere in the middle. If yours is at the cooler end, what's coming still applies. Just turn down a notch. You'd be forgiven for thinking this is purely a dog thing. That the deep human orientation is something humans built in across 15,000 years of selective breeding. That a wild canid would never behave like this. Tell that to Juno. Between 2003 and 2009, a wild black wolf, not raised in captivity, not hand-fed, not socialized to humans, appeared at the edge of Mendenhall Glacier outside the city. The locals named him Romeo. For 6 years, he showed up. He played with their dogs. He went on hikes with people. A man named Harry Robinson took long walks with his dog Britain, and Romeo would come along. Like a third friend on the trail. A photographer named Nick Jans once napped on the ice with his hand on his Labrador's head and Romeo asleep 15 feet away. Everybody trusted each other enough to shut their eyes, Jans wrote later, and just be. This was not a dog. This was a 120-pound wild predator with no obligation to anyone, no leash, no history of human contact. And he kept choosing this, for 6 winters in a row. In September of 2009, 2 poachers shot him. They saw a wolf who had grown so used to people that he was easy to walk up to. They saw a trophy. They didn't know, or didn't care, what he had been for 6 years to a town full of dogs and the people who loved them. They skinned him. The only reason they ever got caught is that they could not stop talking about it. The case was tried in Juneau. The punishment came out to a fine and some community service. Romeo matters because the science is about to say something that sounds, at first, like humans manufactured this attachment. Romeo says we didn't. The wiring was already in the lineage. There was a wolf in southeast Alaska who chose 6 winters of human company with nothing to gain from a single one of them. Something in his species was capable of this. Something in your dog is the same thing, turned all the way up. In 2017, an evolutionary biologist at Princeton named Bridget von Holt published the paper that answered the question Romeo raised. She tested dogs and wolves on the same task, both raised with regular human attention, and watched what they did with a human and a puzzle box in the same room. The wolves worked on the box. The dogs looked at the human and forgot the box existed. Then she sequenced the genomes. The region that had diverged most sharply between dogs and wolves sat in a place that, in humans, contains the genes whose deletion causes Williams syndrome. Williams syndrome is a developmental condition. People who have it have certain physical features, some cognitive differences, and one trait everyone who has ever met someone with Williams syndrome remembers: an extraordinary, almost gravitational warmth toward other people. They walk up to strangers like strangers are friends they haven't met yet. They love openly. Hypersociability is the clinical word, but the clinical word doesn't quite catch what it is. What people with Williams syndrome and dogs both have, in this gene region, is the absence of the wall the rest of us spend a lot of energy building, which, depending on the day, is either a difference or a gift. Dogs carry structural variants in this same region. The variants are statistically associated with how much time a dog spends within a meter of a human, how often they look at humans, how much social interest they show in strangers. The single region reading has been refined since von Holt's paper. A follow-up at the University of Arizona replicated the strongest signal in over 800 dogs. But other researchers argue the picture is broader than one neighborhood on chromosome 6. The bigger story has held. And the bigger story is this: selection didn't put this trait into wolves. Selection took the wolves who already had it and let them have puppies. The wolves who couldn't stand being near humans stayed in the woods. The ones who could, whose nervous systems were set by some accident of genetics to find humans calming instead of threatening, got close enough to be fed, to be sheltered, to have offspring that lived long enough to have offspring of their own. Your dog is the end of that line. He is not following you because we forced his ancestors into a shape that needs us. He is following you because thousands of generations of his ancestors decided, one wolf at a time, that humans were worth being near. The bond is older than agriculture. It's older than written language. And in the gene region that decides how comfortable he is in the same room as you, he carries the answer his lineage worked out across 15,000 years. The answer, every generation, was yes, stay closer. If this is true, if dogs really did spend 15,000 years choosing to be near humans, generation after generation, then somewhere in that long arc, you would expect to find a dog who would do almost anything to get back to his people. So, in August of 1923, a family from Silverton, Oregon, Frank and Elizabeth Brazier and their 2 daughters, drove their 2-year-old Scotch Collie mix, Bobby, across the country to visit relatives in Indiana. At a gas station in a small town called Wolcott, Bobby got into a fight with some local dogs and was chased off. The Braziers searched for days. They papered the town with flyers. They drove home without him, 8 states away. On February 15th, 1924, 6 months later, one of the Brazier daughters stepped out of the family restaurant on Main Street in Silverton. She saw something walking down the road. It was Bobby. He had crossed Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, Nebraska, Wyoming, Idaho, and into Oregon. He had swam rivers. He had crossed the Continental Divide in the dead of winter. In the dead of winter, without any of the equipment a creature is supposed to need to do that. The Oregon Humane Society was so skeptical of the family's story that they investigated it. They found witnesses, dozens of them, all the way back along the route, who had fed a worn-down collie at the same campsites and the same gas stations where the Braziers had stopped on the way east. He had retraced their trip, backwards, on his own legs, in winter, 2,500 miles, 6 months on the road, the cold, the hunger, a dog walking west who had no map, no scent trail for half the journey, no reason to keep going, except that his people were somewhere out there, and being away from them was, for him, the part of the universe his nervous system refused to accept. So when you watch him on the other side of the bathroom door, 10 inches from your foot, no reason, no call, you don't have to feel anxious about how attached he is. He was going to be that attached anyway. His line has been working toward this door for 15,000 years. You were told he follows you because you spoiled him. He follows you because somewhere in his chromosomes there is a 15,000-year-old yes. Yes, stay closer. This is the bargain that worked. And the dog he is the latest expression of every dog his line ever chose to be. You didn't make him love you. He just got here, finally, on a line that had been walking toward this door for as long as humans have known how to start a fire. And you happen to be the door. What's the version of this you're not buying? Von Holtz's single-region reading has cleaner replications now, but it also has serious critics, and I'd rather hear the angle I missed than have everyone tell me they agree. Tell me below.